Hey everyone, EG here. I'm out for fresh air and a walk, and I'm going to take you with me because today we're going to talk about some ways to combat anxiety, to deal with anxiety, and this is one of my favorites, so taking you with me here. So I'm out for a walk, and I'll get to that. Obviously, that's one of my 5 tips for dealing with anxiety is going for a walk. And I'm doing that today because I'm really stressed out. And that's one reason I wanted to talk about anxiety today. It is very cold out here. It is probably mid-30s for a high today. If you've watched my channel, you know that I deal with anxiety and have most of my life. I come by it honestly. My mother was a tremendously anxious person. And then my grandmother on the other side of my family, my dad's mom, was also really anxious. So I have it on both sides of the family. So whether I inherited it as some genetic thing or learned behavior, it's probably a combo of both, I would guess. But I've dealt with anxiety most of my life. Sorry about the cars. And I actually have generalized anxiety disorder. I have a little bit of OCD. I believe I also have some PTSD from certain traumatic episodes in my life. So yeah, anxiety is my companion. And sometimes it's better and sometimes it's worse. I don't take any medication for it. So the things that I'm going to talk about today are all natural things, and they really do help with anxiety. So I don't know what your situation is. Let me know in the comments below if you also struggle with anxiety, and hopefully the 5 tips I tell you today will help. I'm sure it's stuff you've already thought about or maybe even used in your life, so I doubt it's going to be brand new, but these are the 5 things that really work well for me. And wow, it's cold. It is really cold. My hand over here, the one that's been holding this, is like frozen right now. It's like absolutely frozen. Anyway, I'm gonna head back here and have some tea and pick up with the rest of this and talk about the 5 tips, and then kind of share with you what made today in particular especially stressful. Something happened last night that I discovered that actually really stressed me out and kept me from sleeping. It's never good to find out bad stuff late at night when you really want to go to just to bed and you're now upset and you can't really go to sleep. So I'll talk about that in a minute. But on the way back, let me keep you with me, and let's talk a little bit about what are the symptoms of having anxiety. So it depends on the type of anxiety you have. I would say for me, because my biggest anxiety problem is generalized anxiety disorder, the way it manifests in me is I just get, really kind of jittery, nervous feeling, kind of restless. My muscles will start hurting because I've suffered from fibromyalgia for like 40 years, and so it's not real bad, but when I get anxious it kind of flares up. And tummy issues. You guys know my digestive system is the weakest part of my system. So when I get anxious, I could get some tummy issues too. And that could be like indigestion or IBS or something like that. So that also is a problem. I get headaches from it. I can't concentrate. I think that's a real big one, is I have a lot of trouble concentrating. Like just thinking about what I wanted to do for this video today was tough because I'm feeling very anxious. And so concentrating is a really big one for me. And everybody has different symptoms. So again, if you suffer from symptoms of anxiety, share it in the comments below. Yeah, you may have things I don't have, and vice versa. So anyway, oh, it's nice with the sun on me right now, but my hands are still freezing. I know, I should have worn gloves. I get that. I just didn't think it was this cold today for some reason. Anyway, I'll pick up with this back at home and tell you my little story of what made me so anxious last night. I'm back, EG here with chamomile tea in my wonderful polar bear Alaskan mug. I've shared that before on the channel. Anyway, it was cold out there, but I got tea, so all is right with the world. Well, not really, but anyway, so in a little bit, I'm going to share what the 5 tips are for what I think are most important in dealing with anxiety. But before that, let me explain to you what has happened here. So you know I'm generally anxious right now because I'm making this biggest step I've probably made in a large part of my life. Like maybe only a couple of times before have I done something this big, and certainly not at the age I'm at, done something this big. So I'm having a lot of anxiety, kind of comes and goes, you know, kind of bubbles up and, you know, is there for a while and then it kind of subsides. I had a lot of anxiety when I got sick with the norovirus, I guess, a couple weeks ago, but now that that's passed, it's just generalized anxiety comes up. But anyway, what happened last night just put me over the edge. And I just, you know, I know to not deliberately upset myself late at night. Like, I know that about myself, that I'm going to have trouble going to sleep if I get worked up about something. So I generally try to be real calm at night. I just watch like a movie or read something, or, you know, watch mindless things on YouTube. I don't really do any work, you know, after probably 7 or 8 at night. So last night, what happened was, and I don't know, I should have just let it go until today, but, you know, I was on this pursuit. So anyway, I was trying to book a ticket for the Eurostar, which is the train that goes across the English, or under the English Channel. And you need to book that in advance, or else the prices just keep going up and up and up. And I'm not taking it until May, towards the end of May. But I need to book it between like Brussels and London, because I'm going to be heading out from Brussels at that point. So I'd gone on there a couple of times and researched the price and stuff, but last night I thought, oh, I'll just get the ticket. I'll just put it on my credit card and I'll just get this ticket. So I went to the Eurostar website, which I thought would be the best place to get the ticket. Apparently not the easiest. And it seemed straightforward. And then when I put in my credit card information, it wouldn't, you know how a lot of times credit card companies now, they send you a code and, you know, all that. Well, they sent me a code and I put that in, and then it tried to process, and then it said, no, we cannot process your payment at this time. And I thought, well, that's kind of weird, because I knew there was enough credit available on this card. And I actually went in to look at the card, and the card was fine. And so I thought, why isn't this working? And so I thought, well, I'll use another card. And I have a couple of cards that I'm using basically for travel for this, because I don't want to use a debit card. And thank God I didn't use a debit card for something like this, I guess. Well, anyway, the last time I had used this other credit card was to actually buy a train ticket going from Paris to Perpignan. And that was a couple of weeks ago. And I hadn't used it since then, because I'm only using that card to either book like a train trip or book my Airbnbs, basically. That's all I'm doing with that card. And then I put money back on it. You know, if I put $500 down for the Airbnb, then the next time I have money, I put, you know, or get paid, I put that $500 back on the card. So I can keep using it, for one thing, obviously. So anyway, tried to use this second card, and it didn't go through, which I thought was weird. And so I went into that card, because I thought, well, I should have about $400 on this card, and the ticket was like $127. So all of a sudden I see that the card's maxed out, and I'm thinking, Well, that's weird because it shouldn't be maxed out. And when I went into the charges, now this is like 11 o'clock at night. And I thought, OMG. So somebody had, co-opted that card. I don't really know how. Obviously, it's very sophisticated online now. People don't have to have your physical card. They don't have to have your information. I always put my cards in an RFID protected wallet, so I know nobody can like scan them when I'm out or something. And what these people had done, and if you know my history, you'll know the irony of this. They had used my card. Thank God there was only about $400 worth of credit on there. They had used it for an online casino back east in Atlanta somewhere. And I thought, how the frick did they get my card information? Like, I don't know who it was, obviously, but they used it and I didn't catch it for 8 days because my credit card company also didn't notify me of suspicious activity, which I would think that was suspicious activity. I don't use even back when I did go to casinos, I've never done online casinos. I've never had anything like that on my card. And so I thought, so I immediately tried to call the credit card company because it kind of freaked me out. I mean, thank goodness I didn't have more credit available on that card. And I have never had that happen before. I have never had a credit card compromised like that. I can see if you lose your card and then somebody picks it up and uses it. But I didn't know they could do this kind of thing. And I kept thinking, how did this happen? Well, I tried the first number with the credit card company, and of course it was after hours, they were closed. But then I saw there was a separate number just for fraud or, kind of lost or stolen card kind of thing. So I called that number, which apparently someone's there 24/7. And I talked to a very nice young woman. I explained what was going on. She looked at it. I said, these are not my charges, and I don't even know how somebody would have gotten my information. And so we talked about it a little bit, and I looked back at the last thing I know it's not from Airbnb because I've been making Airbnb reservations for 2-3 months here. I've been on there. And there's no way, that would have already shown up if somebody were using it from that. I don't think Airbnb, their credit card thing is compromised. But I think it was this train thing I made that's I think either their system isn't secure or something. Somebody must have gotten my credit card information because I booked that 2 days before whoever it was started using this card. And I'm guessing they got it from that. So I reported all this to the credit card company. They're really nice about it. They, of course, have to investigate, but she said, we'll immediately send you out a new card. Of course, they canceled, they closed that so nobody could do anything else to that card. But I was just shaken up last night. Shaken up. Because I thought, what if this happens when I'm over in Europe and it's not as easy to get a replacement card? Or it's not as easy, I'm going to have to now, you see, I'm so OCD about this, I'm going to have to go in and check these things every day. Because I hadn't checked that card for probably a week and a half because I wasn't using it. And I thought, I'm sure it's not a big, I didn't think it would be a problem. Now I'm going to be checking my credit cards every day. Because I did not realize, this is the first time that something like this has happened. And thank gosh, I'm not using my debit card for this stuff. Because that would have been a disaster. That's my money. My money's in the bank. That would be, it's a lot easier to dispute the credit card things than it is to deal with the debit card stuff. So anyway, I just wanted to share that because that is how stressed out I am about something like that. So, deep breath, sip of tea. Very hot, very good. And let's talk about how you calm yourself down when you're anxious. And I had good reason to be anxious about something like this. That's why I wanted to share it with you, is that, this is happening more and more to people nowadays. So let's talk about what I think are the 5 best ways that help me deal with anxiety. The first one was what I did at the beginning of this video, which is go out for a walk, especially a walk where you can see nature. Obviously, if you live in a big city, you may not be able to, although there's still parks, so you should be able to go to a park. But being in nature really helps when you're going for a walk. And I find that's the first thing that helps. The second thing is to do some form of exercise, whether it's at home or at the gym or whatever. I do exercises every day. I kind of got off the pattern for about a week and a half when I had that bug because I just had no energy to do them, but I'm back on them. Exercise, I find, really does help kind of dampen the anxiety or tamp it down. And I think the third thing I would say is, and it was really hard for me to do last night. Boy, I only got like 4 hours of sleep last night. It was bad. But thought stopping is another one. Just when you feel your thoughts kind of spiraling and your fear and your anxiety, you just go stop. And some people say you can do like count like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then say stop. There's variations on it, but you have to stop the spiral of thoughts. So you say stop, and then you purposely put your mind on something else. I find that is very effective. And so that's a big one for me too. It didn't help last night, unfortunately, because late at night is when I'm really vulnerable to, like, I didn't know I was going to see that upsetting stuff last night. I wasn't trying to look for something upsetting. I just thought, oh, I'll just make this train reservation. How much of a problem can this be? So anyway, by the way, this morning I was able to make the train reservation for the Eurostar, so I did get that done. Okay, so we've gone through walking, especially in nature. We've gone through exercise of some type, because using your muscles, expending energy, having to breathe deeply and exercise all helps a lot. 3 is thought stopping. I think that one is really effective. And the fourth one to me, and again, this is very particular to me, is music. And it can be listening to music, like soothing music, not music that's going to get you all like excitable. But the thing with me that really helps, because I am a musician, is I play. If I sit down and I play the guitar, I start just singing along with it, it just calms me down. It's a form of meditation for me. And so music, it may not work for everyone, but it definitely works for me. And I find that if I just sit and play for 10, 15 minutes, I just don't feel anxious anymore. So it really, again, didn't do that at midnight last night because it's late to be playing music in my apartment and I'm trying not to disturb my neighbors. So the last one, I'm going to combine with breathing, doing deep breathing, which is important for walking or exercise as well, but taking some deep breaths and then meditating. Now, the reason I put this at number 5 is because when I'm really anxious, I can't meditate. If I'm over the line, if I'm over the limit, I'm not going to be able to meditate. So I usually have to calm myself down a little bit with something else first, and then I can meditate. But meditation in general really helps with generalized anxiety disorder. It helps with OCD, it helps with PTSD, it helps with any kind of anxiety. It's a really wonderful tool on a daily basis. Today, because I got up so late and got almost no sleep, I did not meditate today. So those are my 5 things that I think are the most important tips for eliminating or overcoming, or whatever word you want to use, dealing with anxiety. Now, you notice, if you've been following my channel, that I did not mention chocolate. And you know I love my chocolate, but I've been off my chocolate now over 2 weeks. I didn't put chocolate because I don't think that's a really effective way of dealing with anxiety. In the short run, will it work? For me, it does. Because, you know, when you eat chocolate, it boosts your serotonin in your brain and probably your endorphins as well. And you do feel better immediately. But you have to eat a lot of chocolate for that, and that's probably not good for your health. These other things I've talked about are really good for your health. So I eliminated chocolate from this list on purpose because I don't think it's the optimal way to reduce anxiety. I can't believe I just said that. It's almost like heresy, isn't it? But I mean it. I do mean it. I know that chocolate has some good properties to it. Don't get me wrong. There's some benefits to chocolate, but to deal with anxiety overall, no, I'm not going with it. So anyway, let me have another quick sip here. It's wonderful. Chamomile tea too is good. I didn't put it in my top 5, but it is good. So anyway, that's my 5 tips today. I hope that's been helpful. Again, if you suffer from anxiety and you want to share what works for you or what kind of symptoms you get with anxiety, please share in the comments below. That'd be great. Please also give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already done so, and share it out with other people. That really helps boost the visibility and the algorithm. And I am calmer considering I had a credit card compromised. Yeah, I am calmer now, and it is being worked on, and I'm assuming it will be okay. So I just don't understand how somebody can get your information just over the internet and then somehow be able to use that without getting more checks and balances on that system. I guess that's the thing that puzzles me. So anyway, until next time, be kind always, and keep moving forward. Take care. Bye.